Okay, it's a beautiful morning, and we're 2 weeks to Gimel Tammuz, and every moment is precious. Hayom Kotzer v'Malachim Meruba. We've got a lot to do. So there's a younger man that writes terrific stuff. There's a sefer that he wrote that I always use because I'm a lefty, and he's a shliach, and he writes a lot of things, interesting shilas that shluchim have.
You're not a coin, right?
No, but my son-in-law, who's a kohen, is a lefty. Don't worry, Mashiach will come, they'll get healed. Okay, so here's the question. There's a thing called the brain-computer interface, BCI. It's basically there's two ways of doing it. It's either they do it in an invasive an invasive BCI or a non-invasive BCI. What's the BCI? Let me explain. So it's something that measures what's going on in your brain, and it's supposedly it's a technology which is very, very new. I mean, even though there's tremendous amount of research being done going back to 1991 and earlier, trying to measure what's say your brain sends a signal to the hand to move. So the computer is trying to figure out what's that signal that goes from your brain for your right hand to move. And what's the signal that says the left hand should move? Now, the invasive means that they open the brain and they put a chip into the brain. And the brain is trying to figure things out. There's already 40 people in this world that have it. It's all experimental right now. And the idea is that it's going to measure the movement in the brain. And so, for example, if a person is severely crippled, it could be attached to, for example, the wheelchair. So the person is Rahman al has paralysis, but the brain says, I'd like the wheelchair to take me out of the house. I like the wheelchair should take him to the bathroom. So the brain will think, and the chair will start moving
On its own?
Yeah, because
That's the same as ALS patients. For ALS patients, like they are at the college, wherever they have their brains work.
Is it working by him? Is it working? They did it by him in invasive or non-invasive?
They didn't do it by him. They're talking about doing
it. Because like people that are in that condition, Rahman al it's already, even though they have a technology with the eye, that the eye could see, and the eye will tell the computer to print up, and Rahman al when the eye already is not functioning, so the person Rahman al can't communicate with the world around him. So the thing is, it works. It works. The problem is that it seems that one of the major problems is that everyone's brain works differently. So yeah, and the thing is, even though there's a lot of hype around it, what's going to happen? If we're going to start having it, ethical questions, making people have this advantage over other people, and then military secrets could be stolen. Could you imagine that someone has a military secret and the Chinese could figure it out, could hack his brain? It's a little bit exaggerated, all these Narishkeit. There's not going to be any advantage that anyone's going to have from it. The only advantage would be that cripples would be able to really, Rahman al people with severe disabilities would have an unbelievable tool that would be able to help them to live and to communicate. It would be an unbelievable thing. So I'm going back to what I was started off saying. I actually tried to print out from my printer a few pictures, but it didn't. There is the invasive and non-invasive. Non-invasive is like a cap that you put on your head. It's like a skull cap, a complete cap, and that has a lot of like buttons connected with wires that will measure going through with the infrared light going through the skull, measure the activities of blood movement in the brain. And then there's the invasive, which is mamish, that goes in the brain and could measure. Good morning, and could measure. Sure. And could measure signals that are going in the brain. So that's the flawless adova.
Any problem with Shabbos?
Oh, Shabbos, that's what we're talking about. That's why I said in the introduction, the ethical question doesn't interest me that much. Um, although, it's funny, Chazal say that the Eibishter made that no two people look alike and no two people think alike. The Gemara says why? The Gemara says Sanhedrin, because otherwise you're going to think of a code to your safe deposit box. And someone else says, ich ken Pomeranz, lass mal trachten. Yeah, ich weiß schon gleich. I know the number. And Taka said, the Ghanim will know the number. So the Eibishter made that everyone looks differently and everyone's brain works differently. So no one could look at you and say, ken lechem. I know exactly what number he's going to use. No, it's nicht so. So, like I said, a lot of the hype around this technology of the BCI is like science fiction. What's going to be? People get unfair advantage, intelligence. But BAMIS's bottom line is it's something which is unstoppable, and it's a very good technology. And they're having a hard time because everyone's brain taka works differently, like the Rabbanu Shalom made that everyone's brain should. So the signals works a little different by yed neina. It's not like the heart or other. It's simple to put in a machine, which is a valve and makes it go quicker, go slower.
And for moving the right hand and left hand. Safe, though.
No, by every brain, vice versa, works a little differently. So it's very hard for them to get there, but they'll get there. They will get there. And
fix dementia too, basically.
And no, they're not talking yet about fixing dementia because that's much deeper, much deeper. Yeah, here they're just thinking like the signals that are going from the brain should. So, like for example, in the military, a person should be able to be on the combat field and think that he wants to shoot, and then it shoots.
If it gives the right electric signal, it can stimulate the brain to work properly.
They have other things today. They have about that they have treatment, which helps for cognitive disability. They shock the brain. There is things that are done today.
Doctor put the invasive brain thing in Harvard, and they told him he went to China. Now he's working in China for Chinese government.
It's a lot of hype. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let me talk about Shabbos because this is what I want to talk about. I just want to talk about the Shabbos issue here. So if Hashem is Baruch, very soon this will become functional. That we're not talking about something going deep in the brain. This is not science fiction that we're talking about. We're talking about that the brain is giving a signal, and the brain will be able to, and they'll also, as the technology will get developed, they'll teach the person also. It'll be like that it'll say they're going to think clearly. Think Aleph, think Aleph. Like whatever they'll figure it out. They'll get there. It's a question of a very short time to get there. So people that have disabilities will be helped. Okay. Thank you. Huh? No, there's two. Like I said before, in the Akdama, there is an invasive BCI where they go into the brain, they put in a chip, and when there's a cap that measures the movement of the blood. Yeah. Okay. That's my Shabbos. Okay. 3 Nakudas here. Number 1, the Gemara says, he took a match. He lit a fire. I mean, those days didn't have a match, whatever. And then he blew the fire a little bit, but the wind came and blew the fire tremendously. If his blowing the fire is good enough to make the fire a fire, and it went and it damaged someone's property, why would he be bought? Why shouldn't it be like the case of when Zoyda and Shabbos, that a person picks up the pitchfork with the tuah, and then the wind blows and makes that the kernel should go out of the wheat. The wheat should go out of the chaff, and that's considered a malacha. By Nezikin is talking about, it was a different story. That he blew here and the fire took the Lagabi Shabbos. What's the difference? He separated the bad from the good, but Lagabi Hezek, he blew it this side and the wind blew it to the other side. So when you came, you did it. What? Finish the Gemara. Rav Amar Kohen Shli Baruch b'Metzuya, v'libat ruach beruach sheina Metzuya. That in Shabbos we're talking about ruach Metzuya, and by Nezik we're talking about ruach sheina Metzuya. Rav Zera Mekagon the Tzamuri that in Banazikin is talking about he didn't really blow it. We'll say in Rashi in a second. This thing of Zoyda and Ruach Mesayato is like Abi Shabbos. I'm like it's Machshavas also the Torah. I will hoch Grama Balmu, Grama Ben Azokin, Potter. Grama Ben Azokin is Potter. Let's read Rashi very fast, and the place is very fast. Levik Zoyda, the Chayim Shemalach Shabbos, after Shurach Mesayato, Shemakbi at Tfu Berachas. He picks up the Tfu with the pitchfork. מצד אחד לא הניעו, כגון שלי ברוח מצוי, שמצח לבס לא ירוח נשבס בחזוק, ולא מה בכך, ויסרוח שאין מצוי ולבעת דמילץ לסולק הדייטה, אבל זוהר לנשב, סגל ברוח מצוי, לא חייכבן. Okay, the Tosfos, Rav Ashi, Omar came in the Zohar of Seruch Masiyat, having on the Shabbos, Malach Machshav Sos Atayr, Shagan, Lizer Seruch Masiyat, have a Malach Machshav, Loch Chayev, the Grimazri Azu, אבל also and Maaser shaziri b'fnei lo yikri zoyre lekach ochel mikri mavir el goydem Torah lekafte el mavir vel goydem avora le ruch mesaleate lahochi choshev agramel in eish le kachol shar gramas time long gram mezokin potu.
What's his meaning?
Yes, simple English. That there's a difference when it comes to Shabbos. Pass it over to. Yeah. And what's the difference between Shabbos and Grama and Nezek? We say by Shabbos, we say that if he picked up the pitchfork and the wind came and blew the wheat out of the shaft, separated the wheat, that's called zoida. And Lagabe, when he made a fire and the wind came and the wind blew the fire and damaged someone else's property, that's not considered he did it. So the answer is, yeah, that kilo in the last edits, it's the same thing, not a different wind, not a different this, not a different that, and this is the last edits. So that's the shaila. Why? So we're saying there's a chiddush lagabi Shabbos. That lagabi Shabbos, lagabi hezek, I have to do it, and it's Gerama ben Azok and his potter. But Lagabe Shabbos, the Torah gave a chiddush that I didn't do anything. I did nothing. The wind did it. Still, it's considered as if I did it. It's kilo. The bottom line is, as if the Torah said that even though I didn't do it, I get punished as if I did it. So if it comes to damaging someone's property, I have to do it. And I didn't do it. I made a little fire and the wind came. The wind did it. I didn't do it. But for Shabbos, no one's chayav. That's if he does something.
The wind did it.
The wind did it. But over here, look at Shabbos, we say, oh.
He should have thought the stuff.
I have a fire in my hand.
Yeah.
And wait for the wind to come.
Yeah,
I want to burn this guy's house. I go like this into the fire, into the wind, and let the fire go, and not fire. And that's the sense that one keep. Wait.
I hear.
Wait, I have a question. Let's say you have a tree in your property.
Yeah.
And I have to basically the matter, it's basically the matter. Don't you fall the gate of
Talking about fire. Talking about fire.
what?
Fire in the wind.
Talking about the wind, the fire and the wind. We're talking about the fire and the wind.
So the tree has nothing to do.
No, nothing to do. I hear you, Shaila. Madaf meyafshir zayin. I don't like this anyway. I think it's very different. This is not a sugya that's going to help us in our Shaila. Why? Because Lagabi Shabbos, he did something. He took a pitchfork and he picked it up. Elamai, the separation of the tzvua from the psoilus was through the wind. And the Torah says, you know what? Even though you didn't do it, the wind did it, I'll make believe you did it. But he did something. But Lagabe, a computer that's in my brain, I didn't do anything. I was just thinking. I think it's a very
Why is this drawing the parallel?
Huh?
Why is it up? Making this all
I'm working off what someone wrote, and that's why it's I don't like this. That's why I don't want to focus so much. I think this is a schwache comparison. That's why I don't want to get stuck on this. So let's go on the next thing. The Gemara says in Gittin, Tanya Abba Elioza ben Gamla Oimer, v'nefshir lem trumastum shrei trumas kosam adaber, achas truma gedoyle v'achas trumas ma'isa, k'dem shir truma gedoyle nitl b'oim machshava, tach trumas ma'isa nitl b'oim machshava. What happens? What happens? A person's like could think that this is he has a pile of stuff. He has a pile of tfuah, and he thinks in his mind this is going to be truma, or this is going to be truma, and the rest is going to be for me. This is going to be for the kohen. He didn't pick it up. That the machshava, the nechshav lachem. Learning from the pasuk the nechshav lachem. Ah. We're going to get to it. I mean, we're now with Kilayim and this. We didn't get to that
last night.
Oh, you did last night? Yesterday was Ma'at Tzedakah, Peya. I got that cooked. It was maybe a specific halach. Okay, so but maybe if he was thinking about the Peya, he was thinking this side, he was thinking that side. We punish him with that aklal. We don't. He has to make it clear where the Peya is, because if you make it monkey business. Anyway, right. But what the Tosfos says, an interesting thing. Tosfos asks, in the one hand we see that the Gemara says in Shabbos, if you have truma that got mixed in, so it's called meduma. Meduma got mixed in. He already had truma, and it got mixed in. So you're supposed to take truma a second time, even though it's a back of the maid's bottle, but still we don't want the coin to lose. So you take now truma a second time, and you give it to the coin. So you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to do it in Shabbos. You're allowed to do it in Shabbos. The Gemara says, you're doing a tikkun. The Gemara answers, no, you're not doing anything, because theoretically you could have done it b'machshava. You could have said this bagel is going to be the truma and the rest for the coin, and the rest will be for me. Machshava itself would have been good enough. So the fact that you picked it up is nothing, because you could have done it b'machshava. So, tazoi. So, and Tosfos says that only works by meduma, which is a derabbanon. But not min HaTorah. And the Beis Yitzchak says in the tshuva that even if it's the Rabbanon, it has to be done without a bracha. Why? Because if he made a bracha, everyone knows if he makes Ashek Shalom says truma, then everyone, it's like similar with the Gemara. The Gemara says that a person's walking on Shabbos in order to make an Eidav. So he's allowed to do it. Why? The Gemara says no one knows why he's walking. Maybe he's walking because he lost his pet. He's lost his chamoy. No one knows why he's walking. So it's not muchach. But if it's muchach why he's walking,
there's no more time.
No one can know. It's not muchach. No, it's not really marasayin. Muchach means it's not obvious. It's not obvious what he's doing. But if it would have been obvious, it would be awesome. Okay, now let's bring it back to our case. Here, there's parallels. This is all working with electricity. What's happening in the brain is all working with electricity, right?
Your heart too.
It's all working with electricity. Now, I don't want to talk about the heart because it's pikuach nefesh. It's not shaila. The heart has to work.
The brain also.
Now, the brain is working. The guy wants to go. He wants to take his a Shabbos stroll, and he wants to go around 5 blocks in his wheelchair. That's the shaila here. So I'm not asking a shaila on a critical function which is pikuach nefesh. I'm asking if he's allowed to take after the Shabbos afternoon, if he wants to take a stroll in his wheelchair, and he wants to do a b'machshava. If he wants to do a b'machshava. So you would say that if you think that electricity, we spoke before Pesach, What's the issue of using electricity on Shabbos? If electricity is moiled, which is a issue that Rabbanon, maybe you would say that because it's b'machshava, maybe you would say that he's doing b'machshava, and you could say that that it would be mutter. So this guy is saying, but it's muchach milsa. It's everyone could see that he's thinking. Everyone could see what he's thinking. He's thinking that the electricity should function. I'm the mechilas to quote I don't think that the dimyan is a dimyan. When a person makes a bracha, so he's making it very clear that he's now taking truma. When a person's thinking, he didn't do anything, he didn't say any dibur. It's a dibur. We say the daber dover. The halacha is look in the Rashash over there. The Rashash says, "Nirle the psikale came shum droshes v'daber dover dibur also hiru muter." The Gemara says in Shabbos daf kuf nun that it's also on Shabbos any malacha which is through dibur, through machshava, it's muter. So I don't see so the dimyan. I think bottom line, I think that if right, if you say the electricity rabbanon for a person like this, I'm going to say that the electricity is the rabbanon, not for any shaila. You know, a person with rachman science paralysis, the pain, it's unfathomable. It's mekenish vorshtal. Chazal say that a child that's stuck in a room in Shabbos, you're allowed to be even a malacha deiraisa to get the child out. Why? Because bisusa, because the child is so frustrated, and the child could go off Yenevelt because the child is nervous. It's hard for us to know the pain that people like that go through. So if we're talking about technology, not science fiction, for Star Wars, we're talking about a person who's never crippled, and they need to communicate with their caretakers what they need right now. And this Lamazogin, they'll be able to figure out with an Aleph-based chart, they'll be able to shine on a chart, Aleph, Gimel, Dalet, whatever, so they can communicate what they need right now. Or on a computer, there'll be a chart, and they could similar to what now they have with the eye, that they'll be able to do with the brain. So I would say, okay, so I'm saying, therefore, we went through Varichas when we did the electricity, that it's a very strong noita that electricity is also the Rabbanon. I would say electricity is also the Rabbanon. And Dibur also Hirur Mutter. And therefore I would say it's Mutter. But this guy brings his third eye is great. It says about Mon. This week we learn about Mon. It says about Mon that the Eibusha says, let's call it you have to make sure to cook and bake the mon before Shabbos. So the Mechilta says, and Bishua said that from here we learn that that a person with the mon, that if he thought that it should be bread, that was bread. If he thought it was chalt, it's chalt. So there's a Meforish Zayin Achamenu, the same Mechaber of the Bayat Heitiv in the Shulchan Aruch, who lived about 350 years ago. And he said, Azap Pshat, and Moedei Pshat, very simple. He said, what's the Pshat here in the Mechilta? The Mechilta is saying like this, that when you thought, Naman, you thought I want a bagel, it became a bagel. You thought I want chalk, it turned into chalk. 1 second, it turned into chalk. So a person's going to think, I'm only thinking, so I could think, now it's just a bucket full of mud. Tomorrow morning, I'll decide if I want sour bread, I want bagel, or I want chont, or maybe I want both. So that's what the pasuk said, because otherwise it's bothering the Yeshua. Why is the pasuk? We know already Hilchos Shmini Shabbos. What mitnamol gabimon esasher toifu esasher vashel tebashel. So the Zayin Achamenu says that if Yeshua holds that because you're able to think on Shabbos, bagel, it becomes bagel. You can think of Shabbos chont, it becomes chont. So you might think you're allowed to do it in Shabbos. Kamash Malanda, you have to think Erev Shabbos before the sun sets if you want bagel or chont. You can't on Shabbos Gufa do it. So this guy says, we see here at Aya, that you can't think on Shabbos. If thinking of Shabbos is going to make a bagel and thinking of Shabbos is going to make a chont, you're not allowed to. We see by the month You see by the month. I think the raya is a slam dunk raya. But there's only one problem with the raya. Who says that's the halacha? That's the shita of Rabbi Yeshua. There's other opinions in the Medrash there in the Pshat Pasuk. According to the Mechilta, and that's the Pirush of Zayinach Amenu. But that's not the simple Pshat. The Gemara says, V'daber daber, dibur asur hirur mutter. So hirur b'Shabbos is mutter. The fact that things are going to come out of his hirur, okay, so what? So
you're saying thoughts are mutter, the speech is also.
So therefore,
has electricity anyways.
huh?
Brain has electricity anyways. What kind of luck you do it?
Okay, damn, no, but you're doing a lot. You're activating.
All this is like trying to say what they actually did. Doesn't mean that they actually meant to do.
Ich verstehe, but Lepoil, there is a medrash that says that, and according to Zayin Achmenu, that you have to think if you want your mon to be baked or cooked. If the halacha would be like that would be a starker raya. That if your machshava could do something, that it's also to do it on Shabbos.
How about for the
But who says that that's the halacha? Who says that that's the halacha?
man, milchak and flesh was there?
That's a good question. Someone asked it yesterday. I don't know. In my house, the kids were asking, if a person thinks cheese and meat, do they have to separate the 6 hours in the month? I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I'm sure Mefarshim talk about it. Huh? Yeah, if you say the pieces of meat, like the Rambam says, it's caught between the teeth, but the man was not caught between the teeth.
The man only has it naked, it just tasted like it.
The color. I know the halakha.
1 second.
Only has a taste.
Right. Let's just add only the taste. Okay, I want to summarize.
Did you have a cheeseburger?
Bottom line is, I think that when it comes to this question, the brain-computer interface, for people that are crippled, this is going to be a very good thing, and it's hard to see why it would be awesome on Shabbos to do. Okay, bottom line.
They want to go to shul.
Yeah, they go to shul. They're gonna. I don't think they're gonna attach these things to older people. I think they're gonna do it for people who are severely crippled, and that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be.
Otherwise, you have a.
People in the army for sure.
Maybe for combat. Yeah, that could be the U.S. Army will put in a lot of money if it's Kedai for combat. One second. I want to show because we have always 3 shilas. I give a share for the women, and last week I mentioned that the Alter Rebbe says the women should make birchas HaTorah. Number 1, they're mechuyev to know the mitzvahs also, and number 2, women should say Parshas HaTomid every day because the Parshas HaTomid is for the korbanos. And tefillas b'makom Tomid tiknua. All the women were like surprised; they never heard. And the truth is, my wife recently asked me. I bought there's a special siddur for women. The Lubavitch have now a siddur. It's beautiful, a red siddur, and it has 5 levels. If you only have 2 minutes, it's the hell davening is 2 pages. If you have 3 minutes, if you have 5 minutes. You have level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's a great siddur. I bought it as a gift for my wife, and my wife looked and she says, and it has.
What are you talking about? Show me
Here,
exactly.
this one.
The year it's on, after year it's
No,
on.
not year. It's after year. It's on from year to year.
Yeah, I got the baby there.
And my wife said, I didn't grow up with. I'm sorry. I grew up in Beis Rivka. They didn't teach me this. I'm sorry. You can keep this for yourself. Have a nice day. So the korbanos, the korban tomid.
Did they down everything? No, did it down?
But like I don't know.
That way here they down.
I don't know what they do or they don't.
Now they down Meyer. They shut down Meyer.
But the bottom line is, the women were surprised. My wife told me, I don't know, this you could keep for yourself. It's not for me. So I looked at Taka, there's a Tehillah LeDavid, and he asked in the Alter Rebbe, how could you say a woman is obligated to say Parshas HaTomid when only the men gave a machzas a shekel and only the men were a part of the korban tomid? So how could the Alter Rebbe say that the women are obligated to say Parshas HaTomid? I don't think the question is such a big question. I mean, even though the men were obligated to give, it was good for the women also. We know next week's parsha is going to be Koirach, and there's a whole shaklavataya that Moshe Rabbeinu said, I know they have a chelik in the korbanos atzibur, that the fire should not burn their chelik. And the Rebbe talks about it like how, what do you mean they had a chelik? It belongs to Klal Yisrael. But Kollel, everything belonged to Klal Yisrael. So I don't think it's a big question. The women also, the Korban Tamid was brought for them. The men were obligated to give a matzah shekel. But the women, so if your wife wants to say Parshas HaTomid, it's highly recommended if she has time. I'm not sure she has time. If she has time, gesundheit.
Even men are not chayiv to say Parshas.
I didn't say the chayiv. I said if they want to say it.
Even Paradim always
Okay,
said
fine. Okay.
Paradim always
Well, nobody's go to a million. They don't have the kavanah.
One second. I want to finish off. Someone asked me a shaila this week. It was an interesting shaila. They said they gave a loan to someone, and finally they gave their friend $1,000. I didn't want to bother them. Whatever. Okay, shy. Whatever. A few years go by, and the guy shows up with a check for $100. So a person said, "I'm a chayv to give a Maaser in it. It's like a windfall. So is it like I got a matona and I'm chayv to give Maaser, or listen, it's my money. I read you don't have double taxation. You're not allowed to have double taxation. You can't tax a person twice. I mean, the government will try to do it here and there, but you're not supposed to have double taxation. Once the money was taxed, that money is clean. That money belongs to you. You can't double tax. You can't double tax
Give something to your son. They tax the son.
So they find tricks. Again, I'm not on this, but so the emphasis is like this. I don't think it's chayv ma'aser. Unless a person was really miyayish, just because you didn't want to nudge your friend for the money, it's not the pshat that you gave up. You wanted, the Torah says you're not allowed to nudge another yid for the harass for the loan, and you're scared. Where's the line of asking and harassing? So you didn't ask for the loan. Doesn't mean that now it's a psakila matona ba'alma. If Taka, the person said befemole, I'm mevated the loan, mochaloch, you don't owe me the money. Now the guy comes back a few years later, gives you $1,000. Okay, it's Taka matona, you would have to give Maaser. But if you didn't go befemole and say mochaloch, the person owes you the money. There's no double taxation on the money. You already gave Maaser on the money. You take back the money, and you're not chayv Maaser. Now, if you got back the money, you're probably pretty lucky. So maybe you should give 50% even to tzedakah. But that's another story. But that's not an obligation.
You mean 1-5, but that's it.
5-0,
5-0.
because that's like But I'm joking. Because tzedakah is always a good thing to do. But I still don't think it's at Maaser, a person's obligated. Okay, should have a wonderful, wonderful week. David shall get him. That we should have tremendous atzlocha.
What's the psak on you allowed?
Permissible. Yes. Kosher. Okay, very good.
Because it's their border, right? It's
Yes.
not that, right?
Yeah. I think.